So I haven't posted in a while because I didn't have enough stories that I actually really cared about, but now I do because they've kind of been building up. I don't actually remember when my last video was because time has lost all its meaning during quarantine season. But now I have some stuff to talk about. The first thing is Ellen DeGeneres, and a lot of these things I'm pretty sure you would have already heard about, but obviously nikkietutorials, after going onto the Ellen show to talk about coming out as transgender, decided that it wasn't the best experience, and she went on a Dutch talk show after that where they asked her about her experience, and she just said she didn't elaborate on it very much because she clearly didn't want to talk about it then, but she has recently done an interview for a Dutch magazine where she spoke more about her experience on Ellen and why it was bad, and one of the main reasons was because she wasn't allowed to use the toilet because it was reserved for the Jonas Brothers, and apparently pretty much all the celebrities that go on the Ellen show have their own private toilet and she just didn't have one. She's also been very loud about how awful quarantine has been for her, even though she's Ellen DeGeneres and she's in multi-million-dollar mansion and she still is going to have a job after all this is over. She's not struggling to pay for anything, and she compared it to like being in prison. That just rubbed people the wrong way because it's like, what the fuck, what do you have to complain about? You're bored, that's like the only problem. But also because of the coronavirus and her show's kind of, it's not stopped, it's just continuing in her house, so she's filming just her in her house doing her own stuff. And somebody tweeted out, Ellen crew members are outraged as they were kept in the dark after COVID-19 shut down production, with many unsure if they should file for unemployment. Crew was later told to expect a 60% pay cut despite the show continuing to run at Ellen's house. She's not losing money due to this pandemic. She's doing just fine, and she apparently wasn't her, it was like one of her higher ups, but it was her show. She should definitely have a say in it, and she should have defended her crew more because this is, again, in her name, it's her show. They had to go through a period of time not knowing whether or not they would be able to pay for their necessities even after this thing finishes, because they could have been fired for all they knew, and now they're getting paid 60% less for literally no reason. They're still doing their jobs. Ellen herself isn't editing anything. You are not losing money. You can afford to pay them. I'm confused. Okay, it's recently come out that Morphe might not actually be cruelty-free despite kind of branding themselves as cruelty-free, because whenever people DM'd them and asked them about it, they responded with a copy-paste answer that doesn't actually answer them. And I'm not sure if I've talked about this before, but the Jaclyn Hill palette used to be vegan, but it's now not vegan because they added carmine to it, and they just didn't tell anyone that it's not vegan. And allegedly they claimed that the James Charles palette was vegan, but it's just straight up not, because there's also carmine in that, and there were also 2 other ingredients that were listed as possibly not vegan, but it's not confirmed. So there's that. Morphe isn't a good brand anyway. The quality of their products aren't good and they're overpriced, so I feel like if that's your price range, you might as well go for the other brands in that price range, like ABH and that kind of stuff. So a YouTuber named Carson recently came out and said that his girlfriend Kate had cheated on him with his best friend Fitz, and then a little while later people found out that she had multiple boyfriends behind each of their backs. And then Fitz tweeted an apology, basically just saying that he was a bad friend and he shouldn't have done it. And then Kate came out with a video, and it was just a couple minutes of her not even shifting the blame, just blaming everything on her mental health, as if her mental health was an excuse to cheat on like several guys. Like there were a lot of boyfriends that she had at the same time. So I talked about Shallon Lester in my last video, but there's just a couple more things that I want to talk about. She said that Angelina Jolie has had like a lot of abortions, and that's why she's adopting so many kids, because she feels that for every abortion she has to like make it up to somebody like God or like the world or life or something by adopting a kid, because it's like a sin or something. And for all the stories that she says, she always says that she has like a really trustworthy source, but that's the only thing she's ever said. Like she never clarifies who or what the source is. She never actually, whenever she reports on a story, it's always something new, you know? Like, oh, somebody told me that Selena was downing shots when Justin Bieber got engaged to Hailey, or Angelina Jolie adopts all these kids because she's having so many abortions, and she always says she gets it from a reputable source, and it's like, who though? Where? Because nobody else knows this, and apparently you are very confident that it is true, but you won't tell us how you know this. She has also been exposed for dating a lot of younger men, guys who are like over 10 years younger than her. And apparently there was this like leaked audio clip where she says it was because of the power that it gave her, that's a pretty standard reason as to why people typically go for people a lot younger than they are. It's because of the power. I don't remember her name, but like one of Harry Styles' exes, who was a lot older than him, came out ages ago and said like, yeah, I felt powerful dating him, and it turned out he was like 17 at the time, and it was a mess, and it's the same mess that Shallon Lester is in now. She's also apparently been diagnosed with narcissism and anxiety, and a lot of people just weren't surprised by her being a narcissist but people were confused about the anxiety part of it because she shames so many people for having anxiety, and she always says that they're faking it or they aren't allowed to do certain things. Like, she said that people with depression and anxiety don't get to keep dating, and she said that celebrities who like cancel on shows and events because of anxiety are just gross or rude or something. And it's just, she's given a lot of people shit for having anxiety, but then she says that she's been diagnosed with it, and it's just a whole thing. So Gabbie has come out with another book called Dandelion, and one of her fan accounts tweeted, "To me, Dandelion is about a friendship that was once amazing and love-filled but turned toxic when one of the friends turned on the other. Then the other friend proves most toxic wrong by developing and growing to be much stronger." And Jessie Smiles has a dandelion tattoo, so a lot of people think it's about Gabbie Hanna and a previous relationship with Jessie Smiles, but Jessie wasn't in the wrong. If you don't know about that, then I've made a video about it. A lot of people have made a video about it, so you could do your own thing there, but that's so... Okay, we already know how her first book went, so I don't really have much confidence in this one either, because she clearly doesn't have a way with words. But it's just shady, because, like, you were the one who fucked her over, and now you keep on saying how much you've grown. It's like, you've shown no character development in your real life. You are still a shitty human being and can't own up to anything, so what kind of character development are you going to force upon your character in this book? So this girl called Renee posted on Twitter with the caption, "Some lash brands are bold." And it was a conversation between her and this company, and they said, "Hey Renee, hope you and your family are well. Have you had any time to film a new look with the lashes?" And she responded saying, "Hi, as I have previously stated, I did not realize that sending the lashes to me was an agreement to do a look with them. As you would understand, a product is not payment. I have tons of other lashes sent from other brands that do not expect anything in return, nor have they asked me to do a video for free. If you would like me to do a video with the lashes, I am happy to send you my rates. Love, Ren." Which is perfectly reasonable. A lot of influencers, especially bigger ones, will not do a video or free promo just for PR, because PR doesn't pay the bills, and they're probably getting a lot of them from a lot of different brands. And the entire point of PR is to send it to them for free, and it's their decision whether they repurchase it or promote it in any way, which is, I guess, the risky part of doing it. But if your products are good, then it shouldn't be that much of a risk. If they think it is good enough and they like them, they will promote it. If they think it is good enough and they like it, then they will repurchase it. That is what PR is for. And then she later tweeted out saying, "This lash brand is saying that they are going to send somebody to collect the lashes that I did not like. The used lashes that I didn't like. They're saying that they're sending somebody to my doorstep to collect lashes. Be careful with what brands you share your address with." So one, they're obviously being really, really petty and gross and creepy by sending somebody over just to collect lashes that have already been used. What are you going to do with them? You best not resell them. And also, there's a pandemic going around. We are supposed to be in quarantine. Why is somebody... What is happening? And she also tweeted out the original DM that they had sent her, which said, "Hey Renee, hope you're good. We are a PETA-approved false lash brand based in the UK. We have recently relaunched the brand into fur-free lashes and would love to have you involved by sending some to try. Let us know and we'll have you organised. Can't wait to hear back from you." So yeah, that's like a normal PR kind of message. I'm confused as to why they expected her to do a video for free. No one who sends just PR does that. So now they're asking her to return the lashes and all that. And she said that she'd be okay with it after the quarantine is over, because she's not going to risk not only her health but also her son's. And they said that she could easily just leave the package outside of her house and they'll come pick it up. She said that she's living with her parents at the moment, and they said, "I've saved chat again. We'll arrange to be collected next month. In future, it would be best to tell brands that their products are not for you before requesting payment to promote to your followers. Personally, we would never pay somebody who who do not believe in our brand. So yeah, for anyone who wants to be a little bit more cautious about who they buy from, the lash brand is Designerlashesuk. So if you're uncomfortable with supporting a brand like that, don't buy from them. So I forgot to talk about this, but the next piece of tea is basically about Blaire White and her lack of morals and credibility when it comes to calling out celebrities that she's a fan of, because she recently made a video about Debbie Vanity and twisted somebody else's content to make it look like Jeffree Star was a hero and a good person, despite knowing that he was not. She also failed to credit the person.
Accusations against Debbie Vanity go back as early as 2010. In fact, Jeffree Star, who a lot of you guys know and trust, called him out on Twitter in a very direct way. And this is after touring together, doing music together. I personally went to a couple of these tours when I was a kid, probably 15 years old. And Jeffree says, I no longer support Debbie Vanity and how disgusting he is.
Clipped it out and made it seem like, wow, Jeffree Star is this hero for saying something about Debbie Vanity, and never mentioned the fact that he had retracted his statements. I don't care if I get credit for it. I just want the message out there. That's what's important to me. And that's why I'm so pissed off right now.
Jeffree worked with him afterwards, which shocked me. I thought it was, you know, Jeffree worked with him and then tweeted that and then it was over.
What do you mean you didn't have all of the facts? They were right there 20 seconds into the video of mine that you downloaded for your video. That's a lie, Blaire.
And then a year later, Jeffree completely retracted his statements and became friends again with Debbie Vanity. Tehmimi discovered this and then she made a couple of videos about it. Now in Tehmimi's video, she presented the evidence to back up her claims as to what Jeffree had done and the data there to prove what happened.
So this is Blaire White saying, this is pretty stupid. Yes, I used your video to obtain a live stream from Davey that I couldn't find elsewhere. I was trying to call out Davey. You seriously want credit? Way to prove it's more about clout for you than holding somebody responsible. However, Tehmimi has made it very, very, very clear that this has nothing to do with credit, but more about holding Jeffree Star responsible and accountable for his actions. But Blaire White made it very clear in her video that Jeffree Star was actually the hero when he is very much not. That was the issue, and Blaire White is trying to make her seem like a selfish and petty human being by accusing her of wanting credit, when again she has made it very clear that this has nothing to do with credit. And what do you mean it's about holding somebody responsible? That's what she's trying to do with Jeffree, and that's what you obviously tried to avoid by cutting out parts of a video that made it very clear that Jeffree was not the hero. She then said, and yes, I was confused about the timeline of Jeffree's tweets, which is why I asked Jay to his face on the live stream to get the facts. The fact that you're mad about this is irrational. Tehmimi responded, you're a liar, and Blaire White responded, how? You're just gonna say that without saying how? LMAO.
How is Blaire White confused about the timeline of the tweets when the dates are literally there? I'm gonna play what Blaire White actually said on the live stream.
There's a piece of this that people I think are very interested in. I noticed it in the chat as well, so I want to kind of speak for them and ask this. And I think Jay could really speak to this. The Jeffree Star aspect of this story, and I touched on it in my video, but I didn't have all the facts and people kind of corrected me.
So this is Blaire literally saying that people were asking in the comments and she wanted to ask for them. So that was the reason she was asking Jay to his face.
Tehmimi called her dishonest and manipulative, and Blaire responded saying, so no actual response to what I said. What is dishonest about it? Your video had a live stream that I also showed in my video. Do you know how many dozens of creators use evidence that I found first against people like Greg, Davey, etc.? I don't get mad. I want everything out. Well, clearly you don't want everything out because you want to continue to protect Jeffree Star despite him being in the wrong. And how many times does she have to tell you that it is not to do with the credit? It is simply you not being able to show everything because you are so far up Jeffree Star's ass.
This is a clip from Blaire White's video using another clip from Tehmimi's video. So it wasn't just the live stream. There were other parts of that video that were used as well.
So since it has been proven that she has used multiple parts of Tehmimi's video, how does she just so conveniently missed out on every single part of the video where she calls out Jeffree Star, where she tells the truth about Jeffree Star? You could skim the video to these parts, but you couldn't skim the video to both the start and the end where she calls out Jeffree Star. Tehmimi said people shouldn't have to go back and correct the information you threw out there half-assed. Do a little research. They responded, you're right, which is why I was the person to correct my own misstep and try to get more info. No, you weren't the one to correct your own misstep. It was everybody else.
She wasn't trying to correct her misstep. According to her own words, she was simply asking because people were asking in the comments.
Blaire responded to somebody who was both a fan of Blaire and Tehmimi and said, you don't have to choose between us. This should be about holding pedophiles to task, not about the egos of who found clips first. Again, it is not about ego. It is not about credit. How many times does this have to be explained to your dumbass for you to understand that this is about you trying so incredibly hard to paint somebody that you like in a positive light, even though he was very much in the wrong? When Tehmimi pointed out how convenient and obvious it was that all the information was there, Blaire responded, how is that convenient? I had tons of subscribers in my DMs telling me about strange live streams by Davi, and I skimmed your video to find it because I couldn't find them elsewhere. And Tehmimi responded saying that she honestly just didn't care, and she was just pointing out that all the information was there and that she just chose to not do anything about it. Quote, you watched, downloaded, and cropped a video that had all you needed to know right there, and you then said I had no idea.
Now this is a video that she has never watched watched before. So she has no clue where that clip is going to be in the video. I know she paused on other parts because she paused on certain screenshots that she took from that video.
Now this person says with Blaire saying, you're not even responding to her points. The only thing you can say is that she's a liar. She isn't protecting Jeffrey. I've been invested in the story and I didn't even know that Jeffrey retracted his statements, which is exactly why it is so important for Blaire to include those parts and why it's so important to either talk about it or at the very least, credit them, because she has a larger follower than tehmimi does. And Blaire responded to that saying, and I'm still the only person trying to get the info about Jeffrey directly from the person involved, Jay. But apparently I'm protecting Jeffrey. Would somebody mind explaining the logic in that? We already know about what happened. He called him out and then he retracted his statement and became friends with him again. How hard is it to understand that? Somebody then asked why tehmimi couldn't just DM Blaire and ask her about it, and Blaire said that it was because she was desperate for attention, and she continued to respond to a bunch of her fans saying essentially that the only reason that this whole drama thing is happening is because tehmimi wants attention. Everything about her is about clout and attention, even though it was made pretty clear that the only thing that tehmimi wanted was attention on the story and how Jeffrey was involved rather than her. And when somebody tweeted out screenshots of the conversation which Blaire didn't respond to, Blaire responded to the tweet saying, well, I get thousands of DMs, I'm not essentially going to see your one particularly. So if tehmimi did send her a DM, what was the guarantee that she would have actually seen it and responded? And yeah, that's it for today. Stay safe and stay inside.